Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Clarity Core. Today, we'll be exploring the topic, the simple difference between good debt and bad debt. Most people are afraid of debt. They hear the word and instantly feel stress, fear, pressure, shame. They think of credit cards, late payments, collection calls, sleepless nights. But what if the real problem isn't debt itself? What if the real problem is that no one ever taught you the difference between good debt and bad debt? Because here's the truth. Not all debt is dangerous. Not all debt is evil. And not all debt will destroy your life. In fact, some debt can make you richer. Some debt can make you smarter. Some debt can accelerate your financial freedom. And some debt can quietly destroy your future. In this video, you're going to learn the simplest and clearest explanation of good debt versus bad debt. No jargon, no complicated finance language, no shame, just truth. By the end, you'll understand why rich people use debt differently than poor people, how to tell if a loan is helping you or hurting you, the psychology behind smart borrowing, and how to use debt as a tool instead of a weapon against yourself. Let's begin. Most people grow up with one belief: debt is bad. Avoid it at all costs. This sounds smart. It feels safe, but it's incomplete, because money isn't just about safety, it's about strategy. There are two types of people in the world: people who are scared of debt and people who understand debt. The second group builds wealth faster. Why? Because they don't see debt as an emotional problem. They see it as a mathematical tool. Let's simplify this. Good debt is money you borrow that helps you make more money in the future. Bad debt is money you borrow for things that lose value and don't produce income. That's it. That is the difference. Not the interest rate, not the bank, not the contract. The purpose of the debt is what matters. The problem with how most people use debt. Most people use debt emotionally. They borrow because they are tired. They want comfort. They want status. They want relief. They use debt to escape reality. Credit cards become a lifestyle upgrade. Car loans become an identity boost. Personal loans become emotional support. And slowly, they become trapped. Not because they borrowed money, but because they borrowed money for things that don't give them anything back. Understanding good debt. Good debt is strategic. It is intentional. It is calculated. It is boring. Good debt is used to buy assets. Assets are things that either make you money, or increase in value, or improve your ability to earn more. Good debt works for you. Bad debt works against you. Let's walk through examples. Real example of bad debt: the expensive car. Imagine this. Someone makes $60,000 a year. They buy a $55,000 car. They finance it. Monthly payment, $850. Insurance, $300. Maintenance, $200. That's $1,350 per month for a car. Does the car create money? No. Does it increase their value? No. Does it help them earn more? Maybe emotionally, but not financially. That is bad debt. The car loses value every single day. But the debt stays strong. That gap is what creates pressure. Real example of good debt: a rental property. Now imagine another person. They borrow money to buy a small rental property. Monthly mortgage, $1,400. Rental income, $2,000. Even after expenses, they may cash flow zero, or small profit. But here's the difference. The tenant pays down the loan. The property appreciates over time. The owner builds equity. That is good debt. The debt creates an asset that works for the borrower. Why rich people love debt, and poor people fear it. This is uncomfortable to admit. But wealthier people are not scared of debt. They use debt constantly. They understand leverage. Leverage means using borrowed money to control valuable assets, real estate, businesses, large-scale investments. They are not reckless. They are calculated. They don't avoid debt. They master it. The interest rate lie. Most people think interest rate determines good or bad debt. That's wrong. A low interest rate on a bad purchase is still a bad decision. A higher interest rate on a powerful asset can still be a great decision. The question is not, how much interest am I paying? The real question is, what is this money helping me build? Good debt builds your future self. Good debt builds skills, builds assets, builds income, builds leverage. It creates future freedom. Bad debt creates pressure, creates anxiety, creates limitations, creates slow financial death. That's not dramatic. That's real. Education debt, good or bad. This is where things get complicated. Some student loans are good, some are terrible. The difference? Future earning power. If you borrow money to gain skills that increase your income, that can be good debt. If you borrow massive money for a degree with no realistic earning potential, that becomes dangerous debt. Again, it's not the debt, it's what the debt buys. Credit card debt. The classic bad debt. Credit cards have some of the highest interest rates in modern finance. 18%, 25%, 30%. This type of debt usually funds eating out shopping, travel, lifestyle impulse. It doesn't build assets. It doesn't create income. This is almost always bad debt, the most dangerous kind, because it feels small at first. The invisible killer. Lifestyle debt. The most dangerous debt isn't the obvious one. It's the quiet one. Lifestyle debt. This is when your life becomes too expensive for your income. Subscriptions, financed phones, financed furniture, monthly services, minimum payments. You don't feel rich. You feel stuck. The math behind wealthy debt. Here is how wealthy people think. Will this debt make me more money than it costs? That's the filter. Not emotions, not ego. Math. If the debt creates more income than it costs, consider it. If it doesn't, reject it. Simple, brutal, effective. The emotional truth about debt. Debt creates stress. Even good debt. But the stress types are different. Bad debt stress feels like panic, shame, fear, hopelessness. Good debt stress feels like responsibility, focus, growth. One destroys, the other strengthens. How to convert bad debt into good strategy. Step 1. Awareness. Write down every single debt you have. Credit cards, loans, cars, student loans. Step 2. Classification. Ask yourself, is this debt creating income? Is it creating value? Or is it simply consuming? Step 3. Elimination. Attack bad debt first, not slowly, aggressively. This is how you regain control. The trap of normal. Most of society lives in bad debt. Car payments, credit balances, lifestyle inflation. It's normalized. But normalized doesn't mean smart. It just means common. Wealth isn't built by following common behavior. The power of living below your means. This is not about being cheap. This is about being strategic. If you live below your means, you control your money. You control your options. You control your future. Debt does not control you. When good debt turns into bad debt. This is important. Good debt can become bad debt if your income drops. The asset stops performing. You lose emotional control. That's why leverage must always be paired with margin of safety. Smart people use debt. Smart people also respect it. The beginner rule for debt. If you're just starting, avoid debt completely. Except maybe education and simple housing. Build discipline first. Complex strategies come later. Debt without discipline is destruction. How to use debt as a wealth tool. Advanced principle. Once you're stable, use debt to buy cash-flowing real estate, productive businesses, scalable skill sets, tax-advantaged assets. You don't buy things. You buy systems. Why most people never escape bad debt. Because they try to fix money problems with emotions, hope, denial, avoidance. But money doesn't respond to emotions. Money responds to behavior. Behavior is everything. The simple rule you should remember forever. Here it is. If it puts money in your pocket, it's good debt. If it takes money out of your pocket, it's bad debt. That's it. That's the rule. Everything else is noise. Final reflection. Debt is not evil. Misunderstanding is evil. Debt is not dangerous. Ignorance is dangerous. You don't have to fear debt. You just need to understand it. When you use it right, it can serve you. When you ignore it, it will own you. If this video helped you understand the real difference between good debt and bad debt, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the Clarity Core, where financial confusion turns into clarity.